Sleep wasn't a problem before electric lights came along. People went to bed when the sun went down. And if they did anything, you couldn't do much under candlelight, is that right? But insomnia is a huge problem today. And there are a few reasons. So we'll put our resident why here. Why? Why are people having trouble with sleep?
Meet Barbara O'Neill, a popular health expert whose natural, holistic health methods have inspired countless success stories. Many have transformed their lives through her unique approach to wellness. Today, we're tackling a struggle many face: insomnia. Ever felt completely wiped out, yet unable to fall asleep? Insomnia is more than just missing sleep. It affects mood, energy, and quality of life, often hitting harder as we age. So stick around as we explore practical ways to beat insomnia, regain restful nights, and unlock better sleep and health.
So what my aim is to give you an understanding of sleep. I want to show you what happens when you sleep. And when you understand what happens when you sleep, you begin to have a knowledge on the important times to sleep and why. There's a little tiny gland in the base of the brain, and it's called the pineal gland. And the pineal gland is about the size of maybe a macadamia nut, and it's right in the base of your brain. And the pineal gland releases 4 hormones every night, but only in certain hours. In the winter time, it's between 9 and 2. And I think your summertime ends end of October, is that right? We call it daylight saving. So in Australia, I think daylight saving's just about begun, and that when daylight saving, so at the moment you're still on summertime, yeah? So at the moment it's between 10 p.m. and 3 a.m. Why only those times? It has much to do with the moons and the tides. Light and dark signals are fed through the optic nerve to a control centre in the brain where your body clock is located. And your body clock communicates with the pineal gland. And these are the hormones that are released. One is melatonin. A lot of people have heard of melatonin. Some people that don't sleep very well take melatonin. Well, we naturally release melatonin in that time, and it's called the fix and rejuvenate nighttime hormone. So it is this hormone that probably is mostly responsible for the fix and rejuvenation that's happening in our brain and our body while we sleep. Another hormone is serotonin. That's the mood hormone. So if you want to feel good, go to bed early. What are the kids like if they have a late night? Not very happy. Either are the adults. Another hormone that's released in these hours from the pineal gland is arginine vasotocin. Those kids are having a ball out there somewhere, yeah? Arginine vasotocin is our natural painkiller. Did you know you have a natural painkiller? When you go to bed in these hours, your natural painkiller is released. But your natural painkiller, when it's used, it leaves a waste. And if that waste hasn't been released, then the next night, arginine vasotocin won't be released. How do we get rid of the waste from using our arginine vasotocin? That's exercise. When you exercise in the day, as you perspire, you are letting go of the waste. And that's why exercise is so important to be able to increase your ability to sleep. Ecclesiastes says, the sleep of a labouring man is sweet. In other words, when you physically move through the day, you get physical exhaustion at night and you can sleep better. So arginine vasotocin is your natural painkiller, and arginine vasotocin puts you into a deep sleep. So the earlier you go to bed, the more likely you are to fall into a deep sleep. The other hormone that's released is epithalamin. And epithalamin is a hormone that increases learning capacity. God designed our brain to be learning new things right up until the day we die. Many people's brains deteriorate because they stop learning new things. We should ever learn new things. I love the story of the 90-year-old man who learnt to play the piano and the 92-year-old man that graduated from law school. After hearing the lecture on renewing the mind, a 75-year-old man came up to me and he said, I recently put away my most difficult violin pieces. He said, I'm going home to get them out again. So epithalamin increases learning capacity. So to be able to understand and retain the new things that you're learning, we need to go to bed early.
Keeping a regular sleep schedule is key to balancing your hormones. When you change your sleep routine often, it can lower melatonin levels, making it harder for your body to recharge at night. It can also affect serotonin, which may lead to mood issues like depression and anxiety. This shows why sticking to a steady sleep routine is so important for your health.
So what happens if someone goes to bed at midnight? If someone goes to bed at midnight, not only have they cut down by almost half their melatonin, serotonin, agonine, vasotocin and epithalamin, but they've also lost some of their cleaning. And what can also happen is they can wake up in the morning and they've still got memory from the day before in their short-term memory unit because there wasn't enough time to get it into the rapid eye movement time. Dr. Matthew Walker and his associates, they did a lot of research with this, and they got 20 students. And 20 students all learned the same things, and 10 of the students had 6 hours sleep a night, and 10 of the students had 8 hours sleep a night. And they found after 3 months, the ones on 8 hours sleep a night retained almost double what the 6 hours sleep a night. You see, they lost some of that consolidation, that confirmation of the things that they'd learnt through the day. Now, Dr. Matthew Walker, is a professor, and he was asked to write study tips for the university. And so the study tips that he gave for the university are very interesting. Number 1, he said, sleep with your windows open. Here's the pure air. In fact, these are all the things we just listed. He said, have some sunshine every day. And I discovered that sunshine was the key to recovering from jet lag. When I go out in the sun, when I get into, say, America, I find going back to Australia is not as bad because I think I'm going with the revolution of the earth. Coming from Australia to America, it's not easy. But I discovered that if I sat in the sun and I put my head up to the sun with my eyes closed and let the sun's rays go through my eyelids, and then I put my head down after about 30 seconds and open my eyes and just sit outside, then I sleep the next day. Do you remember one of the first things I said was light and dark signals are fed through the optic nerve to a control centre in the brain where your body clock is located. And the body clock communicates with the pineal gland. So sunshine in the day helps us to sleep better at night because it resets that body clock. It's called your circadian rhythm. You've heard of the circadian rhythm? It is reset by sun's rays going through the eyes.
Dr. Walker explains that daylight is essential for keeping our body clocks on track. Sunlight helps our internal clocks match the natural day-night cycle, which leads to better, deeper sleep and feeling more refreshed. Sunlight also triggers hormones and brain chemicals that help control our sleep and keep us alert during the day. So getting outside for some sunlight isn't just pleasant, it's important for healthy sleep.
This is 8 hours sleep a night. 8 hours, not negotiable. When I turned 50, I found that I started to have about 6 hours sleep a night and I felt good. I used to tell people, since I turned 50, I don't need as much sleep. Once I read this book, well, I very quickly have trained myself back into 8 hours. Because that's the danger of the 6 hour. You feel okay, but it's a great deception because all of these things aren't happening. What Dr. Matthew Walker showed is that people with Alzheimer's, little amyloid plaques, in every case of Alzheimer's, they found little amyloid plaques, which are like little calcified deposits building up in the prefrontal cortex. Now, when someone's got Alzheimer's, how's their reason, intellect and judgment? It's not there, is it? It's not there. What Matthew Walker found, that when you sleep these hours, your cleaning system prevents the build-up of the amyloid plaques. And the people that have boasted of 5 hours sleep a night, let's have a look at how their latter years are. And remember, God never meant anyone to get Alzheimer's. He meant our mind to be brighter and smarter with age. So 8 hours is not negotiable. So the next one is exercise. If you want to sleep good at night, get physically active in the day. If you can't run, try the exercise bike. Try the rebounder. Try swimming. But some sort of physical exercise. Remember Ecclesiastes? The sleep of a labouring man is sweet, because that man is physically exhausted from his physical exercise. And so many people today are at the computer. They're not doing physical work, they're doing brain work. Yes, the brain does need a rest when it's been working hard, but it needs that physical. Many guests that have been to our program, they buy the little rebound, the little mini trampolines in their office. And everyone in the office does 1 minute every hour. 1 minute every hour. Now, you could even do it if you had 60 people in the office, couldn't you? 60 minutes in an hour. 6, proper diet. Now, what we're going to talk about here is timing. Dr. Matthew Walker, he showed that eating a huge evening meal interfered with sleep. When we sleep at night, our stomach wants to sleep. But when we eat a huge evening meal, then by the time we go to bed, it's usually still all in there, and your body has to keep working. It's got to keep working, otherwise that will, in that warm environment, it would start to rot, it would start to go bad. So eating breakfast like a king, lunch like a queen, and tea or supper like a pauper. Now if you've got young men who are working physically hard all day, their evening meal might be a bowl of thick soup, or it might be a smoothie. But for people that aren't working really physically hard, and especially people trying to lose a bit of weight, they're better to go maybe just a herb tea, or maybe just a light soup. You will sleep better if your stomach is allowed to sleep too. And number 7, hydration. We lose water every night. I don't know if you've ever slept on a mattress on the floor, and when you wake up in the morning and you lift the mattress, you notice it's all damp, because we lose moisture every night. The most dehydrated time of the whole day is when we wake up in the morning. I say to my grandchildren when they stay, have you watered your garden yet? It's their garden down there. Sometimes they come out and say, Grandma, we've watered our garden. I say, great, it's ready for breakfast. It's ready for breakfast. I try always have water next to my bed. If I wake in the night, I have a few sips. You just have it always with you. When you are well hydrated, you will sleep better. Now, I drink most of my water in the earlier part of the day. Some people can drink 16 ounces of water before they go to bed and sleep for 8 hours. I can't. If I eat that much water, I have to get up a couple of times. I learned a few years ago not to have watermelon for tea too. It was such a beautiful watermelon. I had several slices. I think I got up 6 times, and yet some people don't. You've got to get knowing what you can do.
It's important to know how much water your body needs before bed. The goal is to stay hydrated without waking up too often in the night. Since everyone's body reacts differently to fluids, especially at bedtime, you may need to experiment to find what works best. Having a steady sleep schedule is also key. Our bodies do best with routines, and irregular sleep can throw off our internal clocks. Dr. Matthew Walker emphasizes this point. Our bodies thrive when we have regular times for sleep and waking up.
There are 2 things that will stop sleep. Getting into the chat room, we all know the chat room, and also looking at your phone. 80% of people in America sleep with their phone. The phone should not be in the bedroom, it should be out of the bedroom. Even if you're on call, put it in the hallway, you'll wake up. So it's not only the electromagnetic field that's affecting you, but there's a temptation if you can't sleep to look at your messages. Yeah? It's a temptation for me because Australia's awake when I'm asleep. So in the middle of the night, Australia's awake. But I will not. In the sunlight there is blue light, and the blue light is absorbed through a little receptor site on our retina called melanopsin. And when blue light from the sunlight is absorbed through our eyes to our brain, it increases our ability to solve mathematical problems. It increases our ability to assess things, all because our eyes through the day have sunlight. And the blue light comes from the sunlight. The technology, the screens, whether they be iPad, whether they be computer, whether they be the phones, there is a blue light that comes out. Now, it's a different frequency to sunlight. But in the middle of the night, if you look at your phone, there's enough blue light going in there to say to your brain, daytime, wake up, because it's right here. Whereas when you watch a screen like a television, your brain already knows it's dark and you're watching. So it doesn't mean that I'm saying you can watch television till late at night. Ever tried to watch something exciting and then go to sleep? There must be a time of winding down, especially that hour before you go to sleep. That's why a great thing to do if you can't sleep is just put a soft light on and read. Don't get an exciting book, just read The Life Habits of the Australian Platypus or something. That can get you out of the chat room too, reading. So the two things that will stop sleep are the chat room, and often in the chat room, that's when you worry. Yeah, that's when you get stressed about things. So get out of the chat room, and also don't allow your eyes to look at the phone, because when they do, the message comes through to the brain, daytime, wake up. So you can rewire your brain, and you can get your brain back into the 8 hours of sleep a night by adhering to those laws.
To sleep better, set a calming bedtime routine and avoid screens or exciting activities an hour before bed, as blue light can mess with your body's natural sleep cycle. Try reading, light stretching, meditating, or taking a warm bath instead. Make sure your bedroom is cool, quiet, and dark, with a comfortable mattress and pillows. Stick to a regular sleep schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends, to help set your body's clock. If your mind races at night, try writing down your thoughts or doing calming exercises, and avoid caffeine and alcohol in the evening, as they can make it harder to sleep well.
What about chocolate? There's not much chocolate. There's not much caffeine in one little square. But the problem is that cocoa is so bitter, it requires an enormous amount of sugar to go in there, and the majority of chocolates have dairy in them, so it's really not a good food. But I do meet ladies that come to our retreat who eat a whole block. Well, there's a fair bit of caffeine in a whole block of chocolate. So probably the highest caffeine foods would be, or drinks would be, your coffees, the V-drinks, the Coca-Colas, Red Bulls, things like that.
Okay, and also about the phones, what about in airplane mode?
It is true on airplane mode you haven't got the frequencies going out, but it still should be away from the body, because even on airplane mode you still have some coming out.
Okay, thanks.
Some foods and drinks can make it harder to sleep well. For example, chocolate, coffee, tea, energy drinks, and sodas contain caffeine, which can keep you awake. Alcohol may make you sleepy at first, but often disrupts sleep later. Eating heavy or spicy meals close to bedtime can also cause discomfort and make it hard to sleep. It's better to eat lighter meals earlier and avoid sugary snacks before bed, as they can cause blood sugar swings that wake you up. Choosing the right foods and making small changes in the evening can help you sleep better and wake up refreshed. And that's it for today, guys. We hope you learned something from this video about insomnia and how to get back a long, restful night's sleep. Like Barbara mentioned, 8 hours of night sleep is what we're aiming for. If you have any questions or need further advice, please drop them in the comments below. Remember to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more valuable health tips, and as always, stay informed, stay healthy.